What's up, everyone? Crazy Crew here. Woo! And we just came back from seeing Frankenweenie.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
You need to get back here, post haste!
Well, we would, but we're kind of stuck in the 1920s.
Outlander, I'm going to send you back here where you were last week.
All right, then. Beam us up, Scotty.
Oh, we're back!
Hey, we are!
In our present time.
And we're wearing our normal clothes. Oh, I liked my new sexy look.
Hey, I'm a yellow shirt. Well, that's an improvement.
I'm a blue shirt.
I'm a red shirt.
I'm sorry. Well, time to go where many have gone before, talking about Star Trek.
Into darkness.
So, I gotta say, thank you, J.J. Abrams. Thank you so much for finally showing me a good movie. Thank you so much. Oh, I've been getting so worried with all the crap we've watched, and like this broke the chain.
Yes.
I mean, I was definitely looking forward to this from the first moment of seeing trailers for it. I'm like, I really enjoyed the 2009 Star Trek a lot.
No, it's funny. I actually never saw the 2009 Star Trek until recently, because I wanted to see this before watching Star Trek Into Darkness. And when I finally saw the first one for the first time, I was completely shocked on how good it really was. Like it's a reboot, but it stays true to the characters. That's what I liked about it. Like even the little things, especially like with Sulu, it's like what combat training do you have? Fencing. Immediately it's like aha, aha, aha. It's the little things like that, or Bones saying I'm a doctor, not a physicist. the little things like they pay nods to the series as well as say the movies or whatnot. I mean,
like I'm not a Trekkie. And I came into the 2009 film with very limited knowledge, but I did get some of the references, like with the red shirt.
Yes.
I'm like, I get that. I love seeing Leonard Nimoy come back to play Spock Prime. Yeah, I thought that was a great cameo.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was a given. Like, I knew that they would bring him back since he was in, the first one. And I was also wondering if, they were going to throw in, another cast member, either William Shatner or Nicole Nichols or someone
I thought
maybe
Michelle
Nichols or even George Takei. That would have been awesome.
I want to see Uncle
Next
George.
one, bringing George Takei.
Yes.
Oh my. Yes, I want to see Uncle George.
Because I don't think Shatner would agree to doing this. Because I don't know if Shatner.
I don't think he could do it. Because he's too much of an iconic character, and if he's anything besides Captain Kirk, the fans are gonna have a shit fit.
Bring him back as Kirk Prime or something.
I heard that William Shatner is going to be on Enterprise, not playing Kirk.
You take that back.
Calm down.
I just want to say, I'm not really a Trekkie either, although my dad did watch Star Trek Generations when I was growing up, so I did watch, some of it, and of course I've been exposed to it constantly in, all sorts of medias, because, it's a freaking, iconic show. How could you not know all the references? But I have watched, some episodes since then. I've also watched, some episodes of Voyager, and all that stuff in between, so I have a relatively decent knowledge of what's going on. So I did. It was enough that I got excited whenever I saw iconic lines being said or certain scenes being done. It was yes.
My knowledge of Star Trek mostly comes from. I remember watching Next Generation when I was a kid. I don't remember much of it because there was a lot of technobabble. I've watched a lot of the Star Trek movies. I've seen the first 4. I've seen Generations. I've seen First Contact. And also just from hanging around different friends of mine who are Trekkies, and picking up on the knowledge here and there from various people. Linkara.
Thank you, Lewis.
So I've become a little bit more insightful into the world of Star Trek. So going into this, I'm like, okay, I was like, wonder what they're going to do here. Like, what kind of nods are they going to pay tribute to? And I will say this about Star Trek Into Darkness: best remake of Star Trek 2 ever.
Yes!
I would like...
Although it's not really a remake of Star Trek 2.
But there are elements of Wrath of Khan in it.
Yes.
But in going with that, and I'd like to take this moment to talk about the marketing for this, specifically the trailers.
Yes.
I want to say how glad I am that the trailers left you absolutely confused as to what was going to be in this movie. I feel that is what more trailers need to do, because it adds that much more excitement to it, that much more enjoyment of it when you don't know what to expect, when you can actually just go for the ride. And, if something happens that it's like, oh, that was there. So yes, I was thoroughly happy that the trailers didn't really give anything away, didn't really tell you who was going to be in this or what was going to happen, so that I could just sit there and enjoy the movie for what it was.
I mean, I didn't know that Benedict Cumberbatch was going to play Khan until just before I saw it when I looked it up.
I didn't even want to look it up. I just wanted to go into the movie fresh slate, just knowing that this is Star Trek. That's all I want to know.
Yeah, like, I had no idea what to expect at all, and I really didn't want to look either, because I figured, hey, I was pleasantly surprised with the first movie, so I'll be pleasantly surprised with the second one. And oh boy, was I surprised!
Oh yeah,
oh yeah.
And in a good way, too.
Yes.
Oh man, and I was like, oh man, when we did that little vlog thing afterwards, because again, we couldn't do the vlog the night of, I wanted so bad to spoil everything, because I just loved everything.
But now we can.
Yes.
Yay!
Now, spoilers!
Spoilers!
Yeah.
So, oh god, where do we start?
Well, starting at the beginning always works, but...
Yeah.
But, I mean, so, basically, the setting is that it's right before... It takes place...
Before the 5-year journey that is the series.
That is the actual series itself. And they're on the brink of the Klingon War, which has been mentioned, which is pretty relevant in the Star Trek universe. And there's fears of possibly going to war, and they're building weapons. They're building weapons, building I don't want to call it an arms race, but just I guess in preparation of. And then what happens is there's this attack in London, and
which may have been orchestrated technically by, was it Mickey from Doctor Who?
That's what I was thinking.
I was thinking that because it looked just like him and it sounded a little bit like him. It's I forgot to look it up, but yeah, it's a bit part, but he basically just plays a guy who works for Starfleet, and he gets conned by Khan. Yeah.
Well, his daughter is deathly ill. She has expendable character disease number 29.
Yeah. So Khan gives him life-saving juice number 267, which of course brings her back to life, but it comes at a price. He ends up
having his place of work.
Yep. Which sucks. It does. But,
you're right.
It is.
I'm sorry I was out of it.
Good old Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, yeah, Mickey Smith. That was him.
Wow. No matter what role he's in, he always
I had
gets
to look it up.
fucked
I'm sorry.
But then the movie gets started, and it opens up with the second best thing that Kirk is good at: causing an international incident. Well, I should say more like just generally breaking the rules big time.
Yeah, the short of it is he went to this really primitive planet, took something that the natives there worship just to get them out of their temple.
Out of the range of the
out of the range of the temple, so that if the volcano nearby exploded, they wouldn't get harmed. But of course, he did it in such a way that brought too much attention to them. And, they're, like I said, primitive. They've never even seen a spaceship before.
They haven't even invented the wheel yet.
Yeah, they haven't even invented the wheel. So, the Enterprise gets exposed right after they're saved in a moment that makes you think that Spock is going to die.
Yeah, he even says the iconic line.
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Shut up, I'm talking.
I did wonder at that point, wait, they're going to kill off Spock this early in the movie? Is this going in the direction I think it's going to go in?
I'm just like...
Part of me was like, are they going to open with him fake out dying or, thinking that he's going to die and then end the movie with him dying?
Or even, start off with him dying, but then they bring him back later through, wibbly-wobbly means.
Mind meld or something.
But it's this...
I'm just like... But I was following it, I'm like... I'm just like, they're going to bring Spock out, but how are they going to do this? Oh, they just beam him out. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, and he and Ahura, they're in a relationship still.
Yeah.
They're still in a relationship, but it's been kind of rocky lately because they've been fighting. Even Kirk is like, "What is that like?"
So you got that going on, and you have Kirk getting reprimanded for the way he botched.
Because he wasn't following.
He was not following protocol, and now these natives are worshiping the Enterprise as a god.
And
Yes.
thus began the Trekkie fanbase. But that confused me and almost pissed me off because yes, he wasn't supposed to interfere, but a volcano. Apparently, this volcano was powerful enough where it was going to destroy the entire planet and wipe out all life on it. So if that's the case, wouldn't you want to save a species? Planet Vulcan did get destroyed. Vulcans are kind of an endangered species now. Wouldn't you want to preserve whatever alien life you can? So,
but they're mad because Kirk is relying too heavily on luck, and they just feel that if he's gonna rely on luck, eventually his luck is gonna run out. And something really bad is going to happen, and they don't want to take that chance. They don't want him being that person that's going to
endanger the lives of others.
Everybody, including himself.
True, but at the same time, they had a failsafe though that would stop the volcano, and it would have went just fine if Spock's line hadn't snapped and he fell into it. Mm-hmm. So if that was the case, as long as they hadn't been seen, it wouldn't have really made a difference. Yeah.
Ultimately, though, it's kind of pointless because the whole thing is just a way to get Kirk demoted to first officer, and it just briefly breaks him and Spock and his crew up, and now he's under Commander Pike is taking the reins for him. He's trying to get him back in, and so they go into a meeting
about what happened in London.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, and then Kirk's like, "Wait a minute, an attack on the Starfleet headquarters is causes everyone all the head officers together here. Oh shit!
Yeah,
and then the guns just start shooting at us." And troops were trying to shoot down this hovercopter thingy. I don't know what it is, but they're trying to shoot it out, and the guns firing, and Kirk's trying to take it down, Spock's trying to take it down, and Spock is trying to help Pike out, and Pike's dying, and there's this big crazy action sequence, and Kirk in the cockpit able to see Khan flying it, and he realizes he's in trouble. He bails out by transporting himself out. By beaming himself out, and then and
Pike dies.
Yes.
So yeah, now Kirk's back as captain
again.
So that made that whole thing of him being demoted entirely pointless.
Like, it did and it didn't, I guess, because I guess they wanted to, like... I mean, was Pike in the first movie?
Yes,
he was. So, I guess they wanted to reiterate the fact that, you know, him and Kirk have, like, this sort of father-son bond, and they wanted to, like, strengthen it just before he's brutally murdered in order to, like, put in that revenge factor, which will, like...
Here's what I think. They could still have Pike die, but they wouldn't have had to go through the whole Kirk being demoted only to be promoted again when he dies. If Pike dies, it's still effective. So you could have still had everything happen minus the demotion.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, would Kirk have even have been in the room?
He's all... what I'm saying here, probably what would have worked best is he's been reprimanded and maybe he's on probation or something. So Pike's, still being the father figure, still telling him, speak. Don't speak unless it's absolutely necessary. And then, they still could have had the same exact scene, just without the demotion.
I guess.
Because in the end, it's like, okay, so this was only a minute or two out of the film where he's not the captain.
We also needed to see him have unemployment sex with those two ladies. Because, every time you get fired, you need to go off and fuck two ladies.
But of what species? Who the fuck cares? He fucks anything. He fucks green women. That's one thing I like about the first movie. It's like, yep, it's going back to what Kirk always does. He bangs green women.
And this time the ladies had tails.
I do.
Kinky.
Like I said, he could have just been on probation and had the same thing happen. He didn't need to be demoted because it just... Ultimately, it's pointless.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he knows who they're tracking now, but unfortunately, this guy has gone to a place they cannot set foot on.
The planet Kronos. The Klingon.
Klingon,
yeah.
Klingon, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not much of a Trekkie, so... The planet Kronos, the Klingon planet, the Klingon homeworld, beyond the neutral zone.
Well, I think, I don't think it's the home world, because they established that aside from the guy, it was devoid of life. So it was probably, I think, one of the moons of Kronos.
Yeah, maybe like an occupied territory of the Klingons.
Yes.
The point, but all the same, it's Klingon space.
Yeah.
It's not... Oh boy, going in there would cause a war.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going
it's like crossing the 59th parallel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, well, of course, he has to get all the crew back together, and
Which he does.
Except for Scotty.
Well, he does have him very briefly, though.
Well, obviously, but I mean, they end up taking off without him because he refuses to operate missiles without knowing how they work.
Yes.
Plot point, missiles. But
he had to say whistles.
I'll get to that. But I want to say this though. I really like Simon Pegg's performance in this.
I love Simon Pegg. I love everything he does.
But especially here because we always see Simon Pegg do a lot of comedic stuff. But this is like one of the I think to me one of the first times we actually see him do a role where straight up drama. He's really into this role. You could tell he's really enjoying playing Scotty. Such an iconic Star Trek character.
Well,
and just being able and just delivering it with such sincerity.
Well, Simon Pegg is one of our nerdiest filmmakers / actors.
Yes.
He practically thrives on this material to begin with. So having, getting this kind of role is probably like David Tennant acquiring the role of the 10th Doctor.
Yes.
It's like,
But
this
it
is
clearly
something
shows
he
here.
dreams of, and he gets it, and he's like, I want to do the best possible thing I can with it.
Yeah, and it clearly shows here.
Oh
It
yeah,
really,
no,
really
he
does.
loves it.
And he's like, he steals the show. He definitely does. He is like, you always look forward to seeing the scenes that he's in because you know he's going to say something funny. And in this, like, he really ends up saving the day. Like, he is like the savior. Like, when they first take off without him, I'm like, they did not just do that. You do not leave Scotty behind on a mission. But it was a good thing they left him behind.
Yeah,
Because he's
very important for later.
very much later.
Yeah.
So they get everybody minus Scotty, and they head off to the planet Kronos.
Oh, there's also sort of a little regime change, because with Scotty gone, somebody has to fill his shoes.
Chekhov, our buddy Chekhov.
He's so adorable.
I love it. Kirk goes up to him. He's like, "I need you to be our head of engineering. Go put on a red shirt."
No!
And he's like, "I can't do that." So Chekhov becomes, engineering, and they all head off to the planet Kronos. And when they get to Kronos, they didn't want to beam aboard onto the planet, so they took the shuttle in, and they needed a military crew, I guess, as backup. So Kirk goes down, Spock goes down with Uhura, because Uhura speaks Klingon, and like two other guys, dressed as
2 red shirts.
who had to take off their red shirts. Like, no, you're not red shirts today.
I love that because, like, I see the 2 red shirts and I'm like, oh, you poor bastard. and then they're like, oh, take off the red shirts. You're not part of You're not part of Starfleet today. And I'm like, they're gonna live. What a twist.
Red shirts will live.
Just this once, guys.
Every red shirt lives.
Except for later on in this one scene.
Well, to me that doesn't count because it's not an away mission.
True.
But
Anyway,
they get out, and
Onto
they get
Kronos.
onto the planet. They get onto Kronos. The shuttle flies down. Spock and Uhura are fighting, and they're arguing because they say Spock doesn't generate any emotion, but Spock says he does feel emotion. His half human side still does feel emotion regardless, and that even because he mind melded with Pike as he was dying and have all those feelings, and he had those same feelings before back in the first movie when he thought he was going to die and didn't want to go through that ever again. And it's kind of relates to later on because I'm going to say this right now, this is more of a Spock movie than it is with Kirk, because in the first Star Trek, much of the character development was focused on Kirk, on how he eventually becomes captain of the Starship Enterprise. With this one in Star Trek Into Darkness, it's more about Spock and how his character changed, how from fall and going with logic, and then eventually realizing that you need to, and relying also more on his emotions as well. That you need a balance between logic and emotion, to kind of make decisions, I guess.
Well, before we get to this, the Kronos, really, I want to note 2 things we kind of forgot about. A, Sulu gets promoted to captain.
Well, briefly.
While Kirk is taking off for the mission.
Boom.
And second of all, we have something of a stowaway.
Oh, yes.
Yes, we forgot about her, did we not?
Oh, yeah.
She's kind of important.
Yes, she is. What happens is that the admiral who allows Kirk to get his ship back and becomes captain
Approves. He grants him to take his crew back and to go to Kronos
to go after Khan. What happens is that the admiral's daughter stowaways aboard because she's like this weapons analyst and wanted to make sure that the 72 missile 72 key number here, the 72 torpedoes were okay. Wanted to make sure that the weapons were fine and wanted to see this to the end. So that's so. But but right now she's like there, you know, making sure that the weapons are okay, but plays on a little bit later.
Yes. But I just wanted to bring that up so,
Yes.
you know, we have her in our minds. So yeah, they're on Kronos, and then we encounter the Klingons.
And shit goes down.
I want to say, the Klingons, I love the updated look they give them.
It's still, for the most part, it's still faithful to the original Klingon design, but it's a little bit more, refined. More refined. Like, it's not like the same, like, forehead, like,
not the forehead with the hair and
but
stuff.
the forehead is still,
the forehead's still sort of similar,
but it's more smoothed out.
Yeah.
They look like a cross between like African tribesmen and like Mongols in a way, because based on like their tattoos and the nose rings and everything.
Well, it makes sense for Klingons to have that because they're a warrior race. You know, they're very keen on, you know, they're very big on fighting. So they would, you know, they'd rather die. You know, the biggest glory for them is to die in battle.
I gotta say though, like once they send out Ahura to talk to the Klingons, you know, to explain the situation, like she really did not do that good a job.
Nope.
Like, I mean, granted, they probably would have like tried to kill them regardless because they hate humans, but like her big reason for them, you know, to let them go after the criminal was because they have honor. And I'm thinking,
that I can understand because that is a big thing with the Klingons is, you know, is honor. Honor is a big key part with the Klingon race. Is, you know,
but that's not always the case though. Because granted, some like a lot of Klingons do have an honor system to them. Like that's part of the reason why they want to die in battle because you know it's an honorable death. But there are of course some that just purely want to kill. So in this case, like you don't know what type of Klingon you're dealing with because this is just like a patrol party. This isn't like the entire Klingon race, and like for her to use the honor system, like in order to like allow them to go pursue this criminal, like I kept thinking like, well, you know, you could have just said that, oh, he's out to try to like take over your species or something. Like get them to turn against him, so that way they're both going after him, so they have a better chance of getting him, or at least you know. Saying that, oh, he plans on framing you Klingons for something you didn't commit. So let us take him so that way that doesn't happen.
Instead, it's like, no, this man just killed a bunch of humans,
and they're like,
even the Klingon is like, why would I give a crap?
Yeah, who cares about humans?
Or at least, you know, offer him a reward or something, if like to help capture like something like that. But they're just
it's
like,
very weak.
They're just like, nope.
The shit goes downhill because somebody in like a robe just goes just because of these big guns and just start shooting. They have really big guns, just start shooting everyone.
Oh yeah, well, and in going back to why I said that Sulu was captain, he issued a threat.
Yeah, the backup plan is that, you know, if they were to find Khan and if Khan did not surrender, they would fire 72 torpedoes at him to completely wipe him out. And well, then eventually, after taking out the Klingons and finally revealing that it is Khan,
You're the one who sent that threat to me about the 72 missiles?
It's like, yes.
I surrender.
I gotta say, when that happened and when they brought him onto the ship and they kept him in like that sort of like tank unit, I'm like, wow, when did we go back to the Avengers? Like, this is just like when they captured Loki.
But here it's different.
Right, I was waiting for that.
I know, I was waiting for that. But it's like, is this going to be another one of those, getting yourself captured just to destroy them from thing, which at this point is actually kind of stupid and cliche. But here they didn't do that.
I know, and I was glad they didn't.
Because he had no reason to, like, yeah, he had the 72, should I reveal this now, I guess?
Yeah, well.
We're gonna, yeah.
Well, he gets on board because he knows that the 72, he reveals himself who he is. He's Khan, you know, that he's from the past, that he's from the eugenics wars, and they still keep true to the original origin of who Khan is and where he's from. And he also points out that in the 72 torpedoes are the 72 members of his I guess, of his army, I guess, or crew.
It's his people.
Well,
He just puts it that way.
of his people from the eugenics wars, and they were going to use those torpedoes to, during bouts, just kill them off. And he goes on, and here's what I like about this. He goes on explaining about how he was revived because Starfleet wanted him to build these weapons, so they could fight the Klingons with, and he was betrayed afterwards because they just used him for his intellect, and they were just planning on just getting rid of him and everyone else with it as well. And I kind of like this take on it. They make Khan a much more sympathetic character. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, even at one point, he starts, he even starts tearing up. And, I mean, yes, he is a bad guy, and then later on, he helps, he helps Kirk against, helps Kirk later on. But the fact that they make... But he's still ruthless. I mean, he's still ruthless. He's still a kill. I mean, he's still a killer. He still wants to kill everyone. But the fact that it's not just like in Star Trek II, where Khan is, he's gone crazy, because he's been alone for 15 years and he wants, and all he can think about is revenge on Kirk. Here, it's more about, it's still revenge, but it's revenge on it's revenge on Starfleet on how they...
He's trying to prevent them from, becoming that strong and that powerful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, using all these weapons and causing all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
But, of course, like we said, it's really all to naught. He's incredibly ruthless as it is. And even the Admiral knows this.
And apparently he's Superman.
Yeah, Kirk... Okay, I want to mention how violent this movie is. We see, a lot of... When Khan surrenders on Kronos, Kirk is, still mad about him killing Pike, and he beats the crap out of him.
He took, 5-6 punches to the face.
But it's like Khan doesn't even feel it.
Even Khan's sitting there are we done here?
Yeah. It's like, are you gonna arrest me? What?
Yeah, really.
I was confused by that too, because he tells him you're under arrest for murder. And I'm like, holy shit!
And Khan's just like...
I expected
really?
I expected it would have made more sense, personally, if Spock or Uhura, said that to him, you're under arrest, and then Kirk just fucking lunges at him and beats the shit out of him, but it's he first, starts off all professional, and then he just wails on him, and it's almost funny. And then, you see that he clearly wants to do it again once they're back on the ship. Mm-hmm. I'm holy shit, Kirk.
Hey, Jesus.
So
they're on the ship, and
yeah,
Khan reveals what they were trying to do, and he gives them coordinates. Khan gives them coordinates to a section of space, and wanted them to take a look at that's going to explain everything. So he finds
they send it over to Scotty, who's drunk out of his mind. So
he's like, I'm not gonna. What you fire me and then you just. You want me to do shit for you? Fuck no. All right, let's do it.
I got nothing better to do.
And so at those coordinates, what they find out is right off the planet of Jupiter, they find this secret space station or whatever housing one of the Starfleet's newest weapons, newest starships that Khan helped build, and it is piloted by the Admiral.
Dun, dun, dun!
That was a twist, though. I'll admit I didn't.
Yes, I like that twist.
So yeah, the Admiral's a bad guy. Bad guy, and
he's
a
good guy for a bad reason. Or
he's basically
a bad guy for a good reason.
He's kind of
it's hard to call.
You know what he's kind of like? He's kind of like that general guy in Doctor Strangelove, where war is inevitable anyway, so we're just gonna build these weapons. We're just gonna attack anyway because war was inevitable. That's what it kind of boils down to. So he's evil, but he's one of those people who are you know what? Fuck it, let's just go to war.
Yeah, he's one of those paranoid nut jobs that, you know, because, like, apparently after Vulcan was destroyed, suddenly, like, everyone's worrying about, like, their planet's safety and stuff, because, you know, if that could happen to Vulcan, it could easily happen to Earth. And so it basically becomes, like, a race to create bigger, better weapons, and he takes advantage of everyone that he can in order to achieve it, and of course he manages to find Khan, who has this knowledge, but of course he exploits the hell out of him, and then Khan realizes he's getting screwed over, so now the whole thing is Khan trying to get back at him. That's what the whole revenge scheme is about. So now this guy, like, who's apparently gone, like, nuts to the point where he's now going to kill his own crew from Starfleet, like, he just becomes ruthless. Like, almost unnecessarily ruthless.
Except he has one soft spot.
Yeah, his daughter. Because at one point once he shows up in their big bad spaceship, I mean, imagine the Enterprise if it was like twice as big, totally black, and built purely for combat. Like, that is the fucking Death Star in the Enterprise form, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
And he tells them to surrender Khan, and, you know, like, he ends up revealing, like, yes, he knew that there were, like, 72 people inside those tubes, and he was willing to send them off to their deaths, but hey, it'll prevent war. So, of course, realizing he's been lied to, Kirk just fucking takes off, light speed it, but then the Admiral takes after him in light speed too, and is able to catch up to him, and they have this fucking all-out brawl in warp speed, and it is like, holy shit!
And people are getting, you know, the
getting
blast part of the ships,
a couple of red guys are going to be flying in.
Oh my god, that's gonna be like the most gruesome death in, like, Star Trek yet. Like, it's bad enough when people get blasted out of ships and out into space, but they got blasted out in warp speed. Like, they are nothing but particles now, basically. Like, that is a fucking brutal death. But, yeah, anyway, so once, like, after their ship is, like, severely damaged, the daughter knows the only way to save him is if she reveals she's on the ship, because, like, while the guy is evil, he's not gonna kill her. So
But,
yeah.
of course, that's kind of cheapened because he just beams her up onto his own ship.
Yeah, because apparently they, like, in terms of the beaming, like, in the first movie, they show how they developed, you know, the beaming aboard the ships. Like, at first it was just they could only do it on a still platform from another still platform. Then they developed it so that way they can beam a person onto a ship while it's still moving, and even when it's in warp speed. And in this one, apparently, you can do it with bigger, better things, and you can, like, pinpoint the exact spot even if they're not on a transporter, and it is like, at this point it's kind of becoming like a MacGuffin when you think about it, because really it's used, like, it really does cheapen a lot of, like, the effects. Is like, oh, they could easily beam anyone anywhere anytime. Heck,
Well,
even Khan manages to beam himself from Earth across the galaxy over into Kronos. It's like,
well,
really?
I guess a good explanation is that they wanted to improve the technology after what happened on Vulcan, so that they could actually have a even better chance of saving people, even if the planet is, like, crumbling beneath their feet.
I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because, like, it just seems like an unfair advantage in terms of, like, the villains. Because, like, they could easily just beam themselves aboard, stab a bunch of people in the back, and then beam back to their ship. It's like, why didn't they do that? I mean, granted, yeah, they almost blow the shit out of them, but still, I mean, you could have easily done a sneak attack. It would have been no big deal. So.
Whatever the case, they were planning to kill the whole crew anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
blowing up the ship wouldn't have even... Yeah.
Another thing, like, to make, you know, the Admiral super mega evil is that at one point Kirk actually offers himself up, saying that, oh, I take full responsibility, leave my crew be, and you can do what you want with me. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna kill you all anyway.
I had no intention of sparing any of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a dick.
And so everyone's about to die, and then who comes to the rescue?
Scotty!
Because Scotty ends up stowing away on the ship, and he's like shutting down like all their weapons, and he's like,
he's a hacksaw.
And they devise this like extremely complicated, has to be this precise plan from, like they're gonna have Kirk and Khan jump from one ship to the other with spacesuits, and they have to land on this precise point, this like really small opening in the ship that has to be opened at this exact moment, and otherwise it's like they're done.
Basically, imagine if you were playing Frogger, except the speed was like 10 times faster, and
there was
you
more
were going
debris in the
straight,
way.
and you were going straight into a brick wall that would only be open for like 5 seconds. That's what it was like.
Good luck.
Like, I saw it, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You are going to shoot two people. Granted, one is a superhuman. You are shooting 2 people out of one ship across space through a field of debris into another ship in the hopes that they will hit that exact spot and that exact spot will open up just long enough for them to not be flattened.
Well, I mean, even Scotty was like...
Are you fucking kidding? Oh my god, Simon Pegg must have had to do like, was it 50 laps a day? Because he runs in almost every scene he's in on that ship.
Yeah,
I felt bad for the poor bastard.
He's getting shape.
At one point, you even see an overhead shot of him just running in actual time. He's like, I'm like, wow. He's a trooper.
well, then again, he was in Run Fat Boy Run, so.
True. So.
And he hit a wall. But anyway. So yeah,
they get Scotty. Well, they take control. They try to take control. They get rid of the admiral.
Well. I guess it's not even important about the Pfizer cracking.
Nah, it's not.
No, it's not important.
So,
Yeah.
That's just a.
Yeah, it's just to add more tension.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Anyway, so yeah, they get in, and yeah, as you said,
They take out the admiral.
Oh, and like I said about this being violent, sometimes it's the things that you don't see that can scar you the most.
Oh yeah, because Khan goes up to him, and he's like, he grabs up, he does like this vice grip thing,
and you can hear
a crunchy sound. Yeah. Yes, and I knew when I saw when I was watching your reactions on YouTube. And me going into it, I'm like, what are they talking about? And then I hear this crunch sound, and it's like, ooh!
Like, imagine the fatality scenes from Mortal Kombat, like, particularly with, what's his name, Goro, where you see him with his big forearms just crunching this guy's head in from both sides. That's what it was like.
Yeah, I mean, your mind just, even if you don't see it, you can hear it, and you can piece it together, and it creates imagery.
And he, and he really violently hurts the others as well. Like, you see him, like, bust this one girl's knee. You see him, like, almost break Kirk's arm. And it's, like, that is the thing with this movie. Like, the sound effects, like, they hurt. Every scene
you can feel it.
Or every scene where somebody is punched, someone has a bone broken, someone, like, falls or gets blasted at, you feel it. And it is, like, almost terrifying at times. Like, I don't know, what they did or who they got for their sound department, but props.
Kudos.
They'll probably get nominated for, like, Best Sound or Best Sound Editing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's like, ugh. So, yeah, so Khan has pretty much betrayed everyone, as is expected.
Yes.
And he beams them back aboard their ship so that way he's ready to blow everybody up at once.
Mm-hmm.
But not before getting his people back. Now, here's the thing. While this was going on, Spock had actually sent a message to New Vulcan where the old Spock is hanging out. And of course, you know, being from the future and everything, he's like, so what do you know about Khan?
I can't really tell you anything about your future, but yeah, this guy was like our biggest adversary.
Do not fuck
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably should kill this guy.
It didn't end
now.
well.
You should probably kill him, like, now. Like, right now. This is the one thing in history we would rather have removed. If we could remove one thing from this entire timeline, it would be Khan. So please just do it.
But unfortunately, their opportunity to do that, not really at that moment.
Right.
Not really at that moment.
So once he beams the other back aboard, he demands his people back.
No, he demands his missiles.
Right.
He demands his missiles.
Oh, he gets his missiles back.
And it's like, a Vulcan cannot lie. You have your missiles, but we didn't tell you they were armed.
And empty.
Yes, because at this point they've already figured out. They took one of the missiles to a planet earlier on to try and deactivate it, and they discovered the frozen bodies.
And what they did is they took the frozen bodies out of the torpedoes and gave them to Khan and remotely detonated them.
Yeah. Also, we should mention, because it will come up, they took a sample from Khan's blood
Yeah.
and fused it into a triple.
Into a what?
A triple.
Yeah, little furry thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because apparently, again, I was correct about him being Superman, because he also has super blood. Because apparently, when this blood mixes with something, it immediately cures it. So, Khan is the walking cure for cancer.
We'll get back to that.
Yes.
So anyway, his ship gets really badly damaged, and Enterprise is
fucked.
Enterprise is pretty much fucked, because at this point they have lost pretty much all control, like gravity, stabilization, life support, all that. They
can't beam out. They can't flee with the ship. They're stuck where they are.
And they end up hurling into the Earth's atmosphere. And when you do not have shields to protect you from the Earth's atmosphere, you know that you are done.
You're just gonna get burned up. So what happens is Kirk and Scotty are running to engineering. They're trying to run to this radioactive room.
I do want to mention very briefly, the ship is just falling and, gravity's taking over and things are falling from the ship. And there is this one scene where you have Scotty and Kirk dangling from a bridge, and a piece of machinery falls right at you. Part of me wishes I had seen that in 3D, because I feel like I would have ducked out of the way.
Oh, and
Yeah.
one thing I noticed, a bit of a continuity error, is the fact that they've established that gravity has failed in the ship, and you see people like rolling around the place and flailing about and trying desperately to hang on like upside down. Yet you look in Dr. McCoy's office and everything, all the medical equipment is still stationary. And it's like, wow, those people would be dead right now with syringes in their eyeballs.
My eyes. But anyway, so we're at this part.
So he gets into this radioactive room. Scotty's like, no, you can't go in there. You can't go in there. Kirk punches him, knocking out Scotty and strapping him to a chair. And he... Yeah.
I think I've seen this before. Where
So he
did I see this?
So he goes in and he's trying to kickstart and trying to link like the two cores together. They're out of alignment. So he pops it back into alignment. The ship is back on. They get the thrusters going so they can keep the ship from falling to the Earth. They do so. They save. And then Spock's like, all right, good job, everyone. And then Scotty's like, you better come down here. And now. And he runs down to engineering. And he's like, where's Kirk? He's like, and Scotty's like, ugh. So he goes over. And you see Kirk on the inside, Spock on the outside. And wait.
Yep, it's that scene.
Yes.
This is the scene from Wrath of Khan, in that version, Spock is the one who sacrifices himself and dies from radiation. In this case, it is now Kirk.
And it's almost exactly the same dialogue, too.
Yeah, it's pretty much almost the same. They tweaked it a little bit, but it's an homage to Star Trek 2.
I call it kind of a fan fiction moment. Because it's like, what if situations were reversed?
Elseworld, I guess?
In this case, though, like, it's appropriate. Because, I mean, in the original Wrath of Khan, like, I guess Shatner had a bit of an arc going on in that, you know, he was also recklessly putting people in danger.
Yeah.
With that, and again, relying on luck. And in this point, like, Spock's death proved that he shouldn't always do that because it'll ultimately end up costing him something dear, which was his best friend.
Yeah.
But in this case, with this movie, it is Spock's story about how he shouldn't rely entirely on logic and protocol, that he should sometimes follow his emotion or his instincts. And in this case, he realizes that both when Kirk originally saved him and when he realizes that Kirk had ultimately saved everyone, but at the cost of himself. And this Spock actually lets his emotions show. Like, it is actually it is both weird, funny, and heartbreaking to see Spock, like, crumble like this. Because it is not something you are used to seeing, nor do you expect.
Yeah.
Because, like, on the one hand, like, I knew that he had to show something. This is his best friend dying.
And let's not forget, he is part human.
Yes.
And humans are prone to emotion.
Exactly.
Especially when it's someone very close. And he says the line.
But I will say this, though. I will say this about that line. I felt like with this one, the way it was originally said in Star Trek 2, it was hammed up, obviously. It's to the point where people just make fun of it. But here, I think you could tell Zachary Quinto was definitely trying hard. I mean, he was trying to be... He was trying hard to make it as straight as possible, and he did. But also at the same time...
The line has been cheapened.
It has been cheapened, and to the point where... I admit, when you were saying, like, it's both funny and both, you know, sincere at the same time, I agree with you on that. Mm-hmm. That it's like, I'm like, yes, it's a defining moment with Spock. He's like, damn it, I'm going to come after you. And at the same time, it's like, yeah, we know.
I'm sorry, but Shatner has forever ruined that line. Like, it doesn't matter who is saying it, how they're saying it, or when they're saying it. You will always immediately think back to William Shatner saying that line the way that he does. And I'm sorry, but, like, that will forever taint the image. Like, no offense, you know, to the guy playing Spock. You did your best, but you had no hope when you were saying that line.
To me, I mean, I know Zachary Quinto was trying, and I know he has to fight the fact that this line has been forever cheapened, but his delivery of it is awkward. Like, it's not William Shatner awkward, but it's really like...
You don't expect him to. You don't expect him to say that.
Just the way he says it, it doesn't sound like it's trying to be funny, but it also doesn't feel like it's being serious enough. I don't know. It's like, it's so forced. It's so forced and awkward. That I don't know if I can blame Zachary Quinto for that. I don't know whether it was, you know, J.J. Abrams or whoever directed, but it felt off.
I kind of like relate it to from was it X-Men 3 when the Juggernaut says that line.
Oi! I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
It's like you don't expect him to say it.
But he says it
And
anyway.
it is like both out of place, but just so hilarious to hear him say that.
All
And
you
that
can
was
do
kind of
is
sick.
laugh.
And oh my god, I laughed so hard when I heard that line. I'm like, yes. Like, granted, it probably shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
It probably shouldn't have been Simmons' character, but it was just so awesome and so hilarious when it was said.
It was definitely appropriate that Spock should be saying it. It just, like I said, the delivery felt very forced.
I guess so.
Yeah, that was just my opinion of it. I mean, it's whatever.
So, yeah, so now Kirk is dead. Now, at this point in Wrath of Khan, that was the end of the movie. You see the funeral, Scotty plays the bagpipes, planet saved, you know, sad but bittersweet ending all around. In this case, it's time to go after Khan, who, once again, being Superman, managed to survive his ship being blown up. And is now...
Now he's trying to run for it, and
Now he drives the remaining wreckage into the
Starship,
into the Earth,
the Starfleet Academy,
and just fucking bowls over like this entire city as he does so. And it becomes a mad dash for him to escape, and then Spock goes after him, and they have the fucking epic battle on top of a moving cart.
or several moving cars.
Right. And I gotta say, like, I thought it was awesome.
I thought it was pretty awesome.
Especially since you don't expect this from Spock.
I know, you don't expect this from Spock to just come in and just start beating the shit out of Khan, and it's just...
And he actually gets the better of him, which is weird. I mean, you see Kirk wail on the guy and he doesn't even flinch. You see Spock and this guy's like fucking losing consciousness.
I know, really.
It's like, holy shit. Why didn't he fight more in the original show?
But now...
So meanwhile, on board the Enterprise, Dr. McCoy is taking all the frozen people out, and he suddenly, they're like, well, Kirk's still functioning up here. He hasn't completely deteriorated. And then we look at the Tribble.
The Tribble has come back to life.
The Deus Ex Tribble.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is the part I think that a lot of fans got really pissy over, and looking back, it is understandable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because, you know that Spock is probably gonna kill Khan. Like, he's, enraged at this point, but once they realize that his blood is, apparently not only a cure for cancer, but a cure for death, they have Spock bring him back alive. And using his blood, they are able to bring Kirk back to life. And, yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I was holding out hope for Quest for Kirk.
I was hoping for, some sort of mind meld something, but no. But then again, no, that couldn't work because he just punched out Scotty. It's like, that'd be weird. If Scotty mind melded with Kirk, it'd be like...
That wouldn't even be possible. I mean, it's Kirk. It's not Spock.
I know, but I was thinking it. Even when watching that scene, I was thinking Star Trek too. But
On the one hand, it's a good thing that they brought him back, because once again, the fans probably would have had a shit fit. The fact that they killed Captain Kirk.
But at the same time, it's how they brought him back.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's granted, they foreshadowed this, at the very beginning with the guy and his daughter. Because it was ultimately the guy's super blood that brought her back to life. And once again, they established this after bringing him on board the ship, and McCoy does this whole test on him. But it's just, I don't know, it does seem like a Deus Ex Machina. It's we can't have this character die. I mean, granted, Spock did actually die in Wrath of Khan, but, he came back later, and they could have easily made another movie where Kirk comes back later. But I guess in this instance, J.J. Abrams wanted to...
It's an issue of time, I guess.
I guess
while he's still warm, so to speak.
Right.
I know they already got him doing.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to do another Star Trek movie because right now he's doing Now he's going to be doing Star Wars.
Exactly.
So.
I'm thinking
At this point, we've taken to the point where they're going to go on the 5-year mission, and that is where the movie ends.
And they could easily just do another series.
Yeah.
Because the
Yeah.
last Star Trek series was Enterprise, and even though that didn't last very long, I mean, that's not. I don't think it's going to stop anyone making any more Star Trek TV series in the future, and especially now seeing with the popularity of these 2 Star Trek movies. You know, it's getting fans excited, and even people who've never really followed Star Trek excited, and they want to see where this goes, and they want to see if they can do anything with it. So they could easily spin this off into its own series if they had to.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, after watching the first movie, I mean, I didn't, but now I'm actually going to. I really felt more of an urge to go and watch the original series. And, I mean, with the sequels, and including this one, it's like, they don't need them. But I would not say no to them.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
It still opens the door to a lot of possibilities because it's still the same timeline, but it's an altered timeline, so they have a little bit more freedom to do whatever they want with it.
Which is why I can accept what they've done with Kirk living. Granted, I didn't quite care for how they did it, but the all in all, I don't mind. Like we've got an alternate timeline. It's basically a playground to do almost anything you want. You can keep sort of close to the original, but you can still deviate from it at times.
Personally, I think a way that they could have, like, without him fully dying, was that Spock would just, be like, fuck it, I don't care if it's logical not to open the thing, I'm getting my friend out of there. And he does take him out, despite the radiation. And, like, Kirk's just, like, barely hanging on. And they're trying to, like, resuscitate him, that's when they find out about the Tribble surviving, and then they realize they have to go after Khan and get his blood. Like, I don't know if that would have lessened the impact or what, but I think it would have, like, helped with the execution of it a little more. Just because, like, oh, he's dead, and now it's just about revenge, about killing Khan. Oh, wait, no, now we gotta save Khan. Because apparently his blood is, like, super magic special stuff. So, I don't know, like...
God juice.
King of the juice. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I just know that, like, I remember, like, seeing so many people saying, like, oh, this is such a great movie, except for those fucking last 15 minutes. And it's like, were they really that bad? Like, I didn't get that. I didn't remember being pissed off when that happened. I thought it was I thought it was extremely convenient, but...
I can see you being mildly annoyed. Yeah. I can see some of your anger, but I don't think that it's all as bad as everybody thinks it is. I mean,
we'll probably hear, like, better explanations from people down the line, but right now I didn't really see a problem with it, aside from the fact that, again, it was extremely convenient that his blood was able to cure anything. So, I don't know. Overall, though, I fucking love this movie, and it is such a relief to see something, like, good after the amount of schlock that we've had to review the past couple of vlogs.
Yes, I mean, I loved the first movie back in 2009, and I think this is just as good, if not better. And
it's amazing. Like, we saw fantasy, an action hero movie, and a drama, and they all sucked. And then we see a sci-fi movie, and it's awesome! And usually it's the other way around.
So yes, J.J. Abrams, I approve. And
please, keep this up with the Star Wars sequel.
Yes, please.
Please.
Save the franchise from George Lucas.
The score between good Star Wars trilogies is now 1-1. The score is even. We need to break the score somehow.
Just don't do a Cloverfield and use shaky cam.
Avoid the shaky cam thing.
I did not like. They still had that in this movie, and
it was rather distracting at times. Yes.
Yeah, just like I realize it's an action. It's like an action sci-fi thing, so of course there's gonna be a lot of like quick camera work. But like when it gets to a point where you're just so fucking overloaded with movement, like it, and you like are savoring the slow parts. That's when you know you have to slow down.
I will mention this because I was the only one here that saw this in 3D. The 3D for the most part is actually okay. I mean, it does add a lot. It does add a lot of stuff to, especially to the shots that involve depth, like when in the beginning when they're jumping off the cliff into the water, or when they're going into warp speed and like you see like the particles floating. They just it actually looks really cool. I mean, overall it's okay, but I don't think the 3D overall really added that much, even especially with the action sequences, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if you had to, if you can avoid seeing it in 3D, that's all right. But if you have to see it, it's not bad. It's just
like I said, either. I would just like to see that one scene in 3D where the ship is like falling. I want to see how I'd react.
It does look good because it still has the depth perception, and the depth perception works really well with this. In fact, it makes it look nice, but it doesn't make you want to duck out of your seats. I think only one time I had it, and that was the beginning when they were throwing the spears, and it's like I'm like, boom! I just moved my head out of instinct.
Yeah. For all its, there are definitely flaws with this movie, but there's going to be flaws with everything. So it's like. You gotta take...
Star Trek has had its history of...
Oh, yeah. Star Trek is...
flaws.
Yeah.
I think Star Trek's been around long enough where you can forgive the flaws.
Depending on how big a fan you are.
Well, obviously movies like the first one and, others that followed obviously are going to be forever a stain on that franchise. But in terms of, the logics, given, where they started and where they ended up, I think we can forgive a few things.
I saw Red Letter Media's Plinkett's review of the 2009 film, where he pointed out a lot of the flaws with the movie, and yet he still liked it. And I have the feeling he'd probably say the same of this film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, overall, yes, I approve. 2 thumbs up. So, with that being said, I am Cat T Critic.
I'm One Sat Morn.
And I'm Y2 Staller.
Live long and prosper. Well, she...
Wait, who?
Oh, right. Doug!
What are you guys talking about? I'm right over here.
Yeah. Wait, how did you get over there?
I'm a red shirt. Every time one dies, another one comes and replaces him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And a little bit of Khan's blood doesn't hurt.
Well, anyway. Night, everybody.